This video contains instructions for installing your new sink pop-up assembly. First, remove the stopper and the rim from the body. The rim can be installed in one of two ways. You can use the included rubber washer, or you can use plumber's putty if it is available. We recommend using plumber's putty as this will create a longer lasting seal. Next, screw the body to the flange from the underside, making sure to use the included gasket. Hand tightening is sufficient here, as the larger washer and nut in the next step will compress the washer, giving us our seal. Now screw on the nut and washer. Make sure the pivot rod hole is facing the rear of the sink before tightening down the nut. Next, reinsert the stopper. At the bottom of the stopper is a hole that the pivot rod will go through. This hole must be facing the rear of the sink. If you look into the pivot rod hole in the body, you should see the two holes line up. Now insert the pivot rod into the pivot rod hole and tighten down the round nut. Next, insert the lift rod through the opening in the back of the sink. Now slide the lift strap rod onto the lift rod and tighten down the lift strap screw. Now slide off the spring clip from the pivot rod. Slide one end of the spring clip back onto the pivot rod. Next, slide the lift strap onto the pivot rod. And finally, slide the second hole of the spring clip onto the pivot rod. Now test the assembly to make sure there is no binding of the parts. The lift strap screw and the placement of the pivot rod in the lift strap holes can be used to adjust the height of the lift rod. Now we can install the tailpiece, making sure to use Teflon tape on the threads to avoid any leakage. Once completed, fill your sink and check for leaks. Press the lift rod and the sink should empty.